welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Of course, if you don't know, I am Lewis Porter Jr. and of course this is my channel. And today we're going to talk about something that kind of came up in a unusual way for me. Just something I was thinking about after reading some of the comments. So, if manga and anime sell better in Japan, why aren't U.S. companies making Japanese-focused products? So this came up with reading some of the comments of people saying, "Yay, I love manga, and I hope our U.S. Comic books die." And I was like, okay, that's kind of harsh, but okay, I get it. They like what they like. Not a problem. Everybody can like what they like. But with that, it also came with, well, if Japanese manga, I'm talking about manga, we'll talk about anime separately, of course. If manga is selling so well in Japan, there's such a large fan base, well, why aren't American companies reaching out to that fan base? Why aren't they trying to get that interest? I know a friend of the channel, Jim Zub, was nice enough to do a series called Wayward, and he has it based in Japan of a Scottish girl, and there's a lot of interesting ideas he tied into it. I've got it in my trade section behind me somewhere, and it was just one of those things. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's an interesting take on it. So, and before I get too deep into it, he also was optioned to get some anime done through Wayward, and I thought, oh, that's brilliant. So the question becomes, so here we have a Canadian who's reached over into the Japanese market, and there's some interest. So I have to wonder, why haven't more American companies focused on selling in Japan? I mean, yes, of course, there's the whole language barrier, and that can be, let's be honest, that can be solved. That's not a huge thing. There are people who speak Japanese and English. Not really a huge thing. And I'm sure there's companies that translate things over there. Not a big deal. But if the Japanese market is so large and so pervasive and so much larger than the U.S. market, that's what I keep getting told, why aren't more people, doing the reverse? Instead of having something from Japan come here, take some from the U.S. and send it there. There are some, I'm going to use the words cartoon when I talk about American stuff. There are some cartoons that have done well in Japan. And there's tons of anime that have come over and done very well in the U.S. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be born in an age where Speed Racer was one of the first ones that we saw. I never saw Gigantor. I guess I missed it to the time aspect. But saw Speed Racer as a kid. Loved it, of course. Then saw Battle of the Planets, of course. Loved it as a kid. And Robotech. Yes, Robotech. I'm calling them all Robotech because that's what I remember as a kid. Please don't tell me, well, it's really this. Don't tell me that stuff. For me, it's one big series, Robotech. Except that middle series is always the weakest one. But I digress. So, without that influence, I mean, I saw that, I got into it, and boom, and then I started watching other anime. But, I got the traditional Americanized experience watching anime. And then we're talking, I'm talking 70s and 80s. Now, dude, it's everywhere. There's so much quality anime that kids, it's kind of jealous. I can't lie, I'm a little jealous. They get all the cool stuff. We got a couple cool things like, oh, that was really cool. But there's so much stuff now. And there's such an explosion of it. There's so much good quality stuff out there now. I also got very lucky. In the 90s, anime took that quality step. After Akira, everyone was talking about Akira. And then you got stuff like Ninja Scroll, which still one of my favorite ones, probably one of the best ones I've seen. The action's right, it's just, everything about it is right. It's just, and then Ghost in the Shell, which I think was a better looking than story-wise for Americans at least. I don't think the story played as well to America as it did in Japan. That's just my feeling. Beautiful looking. Let's not even talk about the technical aspect. It was amazing, just amazing. And we're talking, that's 90, 95, 96, maybe 97. And you just still see stuff continue on getting better and better. Now, except now that I'm in my 50s, I don't watch as much because I don't have enough time to watch as much, but you could see where it's going. So I always wondered, how many American companies would go to Japan and then try to sell their wares there? Because I've got to wonder if some of the stuff translates very well. Maybe not everything out of Marvel and DC works well over in Japan, but I'm sure certain things do very, very well over there, or should do very, very well over there. So that's my thought, What exactly do you think of American companies selling, their version of, I'll say cartoons since it's not anime, and comic books since it's not manga, to them? And let's not just say Japan. That's a little naive. Chinese have their own version of manga. I forgot the exact name of it. Please forgive me. If you know, put a comment in the below. And so does South Korea. So Asia as a whole has opportunities for maybe Americans to break in a different way. And better off, tell different stories. I mean, we do tell very comic book set stories, you know? So how about we change it up? How about we change it for a different market? How about we establish it for a different market? What if we present it to a different market? I'm sure there are companies over there saying, oh, wow, the art is good. The story would fit well over here. We would do well converting it. So I got to wonder how many people are actually trying that route. And even better, why are we not? I mean, if there's money to be made out there, let's go back to the number one reason we do this thing. If there's money to be made out there, why aren't we looking after that money? Why are we not going after those kind of fans? Why are we not just trying to do something cool? And because let's be honest, suppose you do something really cool and it becomes really big in Asia. At a minimum, you're going to get trouble in Asia to go to cons. That sounds kind of cool no matter what you say. I mean, I'm going to guess the cons over there must be like the cons over here, but even cooler. That's what I'm going to assume. And that might be worth it alone. But you might need a whole new fan base. You might meet new creatives that you can team up and work with. I'm just saying, this is a perfect time if you are an American company to stop just thinking about American comic books. Stop thinking about the American market. Let's think broad. Let's go super broad. Let's go out there and see who's interested in seeing what we're doing and what we're creating. Because now's the perfect time to do it. I mean, at worst, what happens? You don't build a fan base, but more people see your product. Maybe we'll build a fan base out of that. Maybe it's the opposite. You know, I don't know. But I think that in this day and age, if you're not thinking about ways to expand yourself outside of your normal country, outside of your normal backyard, hell, outside of your own state, some people don't even want to do that. This is a perfect opportunity to do that. And take a place like Japan that already has a fan base rabid for manga and anime. This might be the perfect time for us to try something different. You know, hey, the American invasion of the manga industry could be huge. You just got to figure out how to do it right. I mean, the Beatles did it in the U.S. market. They came from Britain, little time place, came to the America and became huge. Maybe the same thing could happen in reverse in Japan. I don't know, but I think I'm going to figure out a way to do that. So just watch what I'm doing on this channel. And if I become like really big and doing something like this, don't be surprised. But you can say, oh, I know he was going to do it because he said he's going to do it. So that's always good too. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will talk to you all later. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. If you could do us a super huge favor and click on that like button for this video, or even better, subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. As always, thanks for your support.